Hey everybody, this is Russell. I want to welcome you guys to our training webinar for today. Before I get started, make sure you guys can all hear me. If you can hear me out there, please say hello or hey or something. Cool, you guys can hear me. Awesome. I am so excited for you guys right now. I hope you're excited as well. I had a fun week. I was actually out in Las Vegas this weekend in a really cool mastermind group and talked a lot about you guys and about what we're doing, and it was pretty exciting. Just everyone's excited about this model, and they're all trying to learn it now, and you guys are in the cutting edge at the very beginning of it. So it's pretty exciting. Now, what we're going to do, if you got my email, you kind of saw, this week we're supposed to start focusing more on the invisible funnel and the next step. But just based off the comments and the emails and stuff I've gotten back from everybody so far, it didn't seem like a lot of people have created their buyer magnet yet. And a lot of questions coming through that are very similar to each other's. And so, and I also hadn't had a chance to finish mine yet with the new one we're building. I had parts of it done, but not everything. And so what I wanted to do today is I want to kind of take a step back really quick and just cover a couple more things. As you can see here, we're calling this part 2, just to make sure everyone's on the same playing field and we have all the pieces done, because it doesn't make sense to keep moving forward if a lot of people are behind, not catching up. But then on top of that, those who are ready to move forward, Chris is in the process, and by probably the time this webinar is over, most of them should be in there in the members area. 2 different things about the invisible funnel. One of them was an 8-week course that I took a group of people from Australia through about a little less than a year ago. They'd each paid $3,000 to be part of it, and so you get all the videos from that training course. And so there's a lot of stuff there that keep you busy this whole week and just really get your mind around the whole concept. And we break down everything in very, very specific parts, a lot more detailed than I'll probably be able to go to during our training just on the invisible funnel. And so I thought I'd give you guys that. And then also Daegan Smith, who is the guy that kind of invented the invisible funnel, him and I did an event called the Invisible Funnel earlier this year, or I guess it was technically last year. We're at the very beginning of the year now. And we invited out the top gurus in as many different markets as we could find, and we ended up with about, I think, 70 or 80 people that came to this event. All of them were people who were making well over $1 million in their different niches. Some of them were, real estate, some of them were weight loss, some of them are, network marketing, internet marketing, just all sorts of things. And a lot of our original case studies came from this group. And so I decided to put the videos from that event in there as well. There's 3 days worth of videos, and there's a lot on story selling and storytelling and just a lot of really, really cool stuff. Some of it's more advanced. And so anyway, I just want to give you guys those things, those tools, so that you never feel like you're waiting on me. You've got enough stuff to keep growing and advancing. And obviously the key for you guys is to stick with the weekly trainings we're doing right now, because it's going to be giving you each of the pieces in a very systematic order. But if you want to dig really deep on a topic, I'm going to start putting more and more things in the members area where you can say, man, this topic's really cool. How can I dig deeper? So with the invisible funnel, if you say, I want to dig deeper, I mean, you guys have got 2 weeks worth of content now. You can dig really, really deep in that topic. And so just trying to give you guys as much value as possible, but don't want to overwhelm you as either. So you don't need to go through those things. If, worst case, just stick with the weekly trainings. But whenever you're ready to dig deep, then that's there. The other big feedback that I got that I thought was smart is not a lot of people, but some people were saying they didn't want to do an invisible funnel right now. They just wanted to sell another product or something afterwards. And so I'm probably going to tweak the training on that as well, where a lot of it will be talking invisible funnel, but also talking about, let's say you have a home study course, let's say you have another product or something else you want to sell after your buyer magnet. What do you do? And so that's what I'll kind of cover a lot more of both of those next week. So yeah, that's kind of the game plan, but I'm excited. So I'm going to go through this with you guys. If you have questions along the way, please let me know. And if you're the kind of person who's too shy to ask questions during a training, that's fine. Send me a video. I'm a little behind on the videos. I'm going to finish those out tonight. So if you've been waiting on a response from me, you should have it by tonight. And yeah, it should be pretty cool. So I guess today's training will be about an hour long. So that's kind of the game plan. So let me dive back in. So what we did last week, obviously, we talked about the buyer magnet. We talked about getting your domain name and kind of finding your hook and your angle and getting your logo and stuff like that. So I want to show you that I've been doing my homework just like you guys. I'm going to be showing you this process in action. So the first thing I did is I went to one of the resources that I gave you guys, and it was the guy who does logos on the Warriors Forum, and he did this logo for me right here for the product. Our product's called Wealth Transfer Secrets, and I paid him, I think it was like 50, I can't remember, 57 bucks maybe 60 bucks, something. It was under $100. Sent him this thing within 2 hours. He sent me back this logo, and I thought it turned out pretty awesome. that's the cool thing about him. Like I pay him, I tell him the name of the product, and I just forget about it, and boom, next thing I know, it's done. And so if you want someone just to do it without you having to think, and you know he's going to be good, hire that guy. He was in last week's training, and in the resource document I have links to where you can order from him. But that's who I ordered from. That's who I get most of my logos from. That's what it turned out. I thought it was kind of cool. He's got the transferring thing right there, and then in the middle is the S. I thought it turned out pretty ninja. So there's the first part was our logo. So let me ask you, did any of you guys, anybody so far not get their logo, or who here's gotten their logo done? Just curious, those who are on here, if any of you guys got your logo done yet. Because if not, you're in trouble. It means you're not doing your homework. Cool. Steve got his. Lori got his. Clint got his. Awesome. Okay, so you guys are following along. Hank said his should be done today. Good. Clint asked there's a handout for this module. No, there's not a handout. The handout from last week will go. I'm just kind of re-going over this. I'm going to add a couple more things. So there's not actually a handout for this part 2 of this module. Mary Ellen changed her genre, so she's not quite done yet. Cool. Well, this gives you a couple more days to catch up then. Okay, so there's the logo. Now, the next step, if you guys remember, after you have your logo done, what was the next step? Who remembers? Okay, the next step after you get your logo done was to go and get your mailer created. And so I went and I had Thane create my mailer. He was the guy that I think he set up aside. It was a blackboxfunnelgraphics.com or something like that. It was in the handout last week. And I gave him my logo, and I didn't have the text yet for my thing, but I said, hey, just get it as close to done as you can, and we'll come back. And boom, about an hour later, he sent me this. Does that look pretty cool, you guys? I think it turned out pretty good so far. Cool. So I obviously says Laura Mipsum here and stuff like that. So I've got to tweak out this and probably change the headline and stuff. But I just wanted to get it moving just to get it done. So when I see it, when it's mostly done, it inspires me to want to finish it. So I'm going to go back tonight and write up the little information here and change the headlines and stuff. But basically, it was pretty simple. And I think he charges $200 to do that, if I'm right. So right now I'm about $250, $260 in, and I've got a sweet logo. I've got an awesome mailer. All that stuff's done. And the first thing is, if you sign up with This Delivered yet, you'll just basically email them the logo files you get for this, and then they'll have that on file on their office. And the next step is just to record your CD or your DVD or whatever it is and mail it out, and then they'll have access to they'll have everything they need on your side to be able to have it all set up so you can start shipping these things out. Cool. All right, so that's the next step. It seems like most of you guys have gotten your logos, or the majority have gotten your logos done, but some of you guys still haven't yet done the mailer. I would recommend doing the mailer. Like I said, for me, all these little pieces of the puzzles, you do them. This is what inspires me to the next part. Like, it's hard for me to go and record an audio or a video until I've actually created the design. I don't know why. That's just how it works in my brain. Not sure if it's the same way for you guys, but I recommend doing this because you'll have this and you'll print it out. You have it, at least for me, I have all sorts of stuff that we create printed out on my desk. When I see it, it makes it real and it gets me inspired to go and keep moving forward and keep doing the next piece of the funnel. Okay. All right. So what I want to do, I want to step back and I want to talk just about kind of the questions and concerns that people have sent me so far. And I want to address those so that we can dig deeper. So the first we talked about a lot last week, obviously, was with your buyer magnet. You're creating one of two types of buyer magnets. One is you're going to go over and teach your system. And a lot of you guys have a system for how you lose weight or how you trade Forex or how you do whatever your thing is, right? You've got a system. And so that's one thing, is to kind of teach an overview of your system. And the second one is you're teaching your secret. Like, what's the one little secret tool that you have that's this really cool, awesome thing? And what's that secret, right? And so traditionally it's one of those two things. Okay. What's kind of fun is this weekend, or actually not this weekend, yesterday. So we're launching in our weight loss business. We're launching a new buyer magnet right now. It's a DVD, and so our fitness gurus, they actually yesterday at their house, they hired someone. They paid them a couple $100 to come in and film them for an hour in their kitchen, actually making our secret recipe for this really cool diet. And so we're following this exact same process that we're teaching you guys. And so they basically set the video camera, and they went in their kitchen, and they filmed the whole thing, and they showed how they were cooking the thing. Our big secret is this way you can lose weight while eating butter and oils and all this kind of this cool thing I kind of mentioned a couple times with you guys, right? And so they're in their kitchen doing it and just showing the process, how it works, and sharing that one secret with everybody. Okay. In fact, I wonder if I can let me pull something up really quick. Because before they filmed, they made an outline, and this outline is kind of like the system thing we talked about. So let me pull my email and find that outline and show it to you guys. I think it'll be pretty cool. It kind of is very similar to what I talked about. They didn't break it down into modules or chapters. They said, hey, we're making a DVD. We've got to make sure we cover everything. So they made an outline. They sent it to me and said, hey, is this outline good? And I will show it to you. I thought it was pretty cool. None of you guys better copy this product or I'll kill you. Just kidding. All right, I found it. Opening it up. Okay, so you can see here is the outline that they used for the DVD. So it starts right here, Body Evolution video scripts, introduction, welcome to Body Evolution. Then they talk about themselves, the founders. So you got Dave, who's got an MS in exercise physiology. Carrie's got 20 years in the industry. Research is always changing. Years ago, people were concerned about fat. Fat tied people together with heart attacks. And since low-fat diets, we've actually seen a higher increase in obesities, diabetes, and heart disease. Okay, so our whole diet is talking about why you need to be eating fat. It's kind of interesting, and I don't know, I'm sure most of you guys don't want to know my philosophy on weight loss and exercise and energy. But if you did care, I'm going to shove it down your throats for a second. No, just kidding. What's interesting is if you look at the research, it was back with Richard Simmons and stuff. The base came back and said, fats are bad, and so because of that, fats make you fat. So everyone freaked out and they stopped eating fats and they switched all these other things. And they took fats out of food, but to make food taste good, after you pull the fat out, they had to just add sugar back in, and all these things happen, and boom, America gets super fat. And they did all sorts of studies where people who are on lean meat diets versus people who are on fat diets. Actually, the fat diets lose more weight than the lean meat diets, and a bunch of other weird stuff. And anyway, there's a whole bunch of science behind this whole thing. But the premise of our big secret is that you can actually lose weight a lot easier following a high-fat diet as opposed to a low-fat, low-carb, high-fat. So kind of cool. And then we have this process called intermittent fasting. So they go through and just teach this. Okay, this is how it works. It starts with intermittent fasting. Boom, and they just kind of went through the whole entire system, right? Okay, so if you look at this is kind of similar to what we talked about with you guys, right? Module number 1 or chapter number 1 or section number 1, whatever it's the introduction, then diets that have found highly effective, and then couple it with your chocolate drink, then butter, and then why grass-fed butter, why MCT oil, okay, adding 30 grams of protein, blending, chocolate versus coffee or tea, the eating schedule, bonus of the program, your cheat day. And then getting started. Do I need to do exercise? And then some exercises at the end. Okay, so that's kind of the process. They just create an outline. They got a camera. They sat down, recorded it, and within 2 or 3 hours, they recorded this whole thing. And them just sitting in their kitchen, talking and going through what their outline was, right? What their system was. Okay, and the same thing for what I'm talking about with you guys is you just got to kind of make that outline, make your system outline, and then boom, either set up a microphone and record yourself, do a teleseminar line, have somebody interview you, set up a video camera and actually do a video of you teaching it, put up a video in front of you in front of a whiteboard. It doesn't really matter. In fact, this weekend it was interesting when I was in Vegas, the mastermind group I was in, I was showing this process to one of the ladies there, and she kind of made me laugh because she's very brand oriented, and she used to have a film background, and I'm trying to help her make one of these, and she's like, well, it's going to cost me, like 10 or 15 grand to make a video like that. And I was like, no, you don't understand. We're in the YouTube generation. People no longer want, or even, they don't expect, and they don't even want the super high quality stuff. They want something real and legitimate from you. They have a bond with you, and that's what they're looking for. And so I said, what would be more powerful is you get your iPhone out, put it on one of those little selfie sticks, whatever you call them, click record, and walk around Vegas talking about your thing, and be real, and just share from your heart, and tell people, I'm on my iPhone right now because I want this to be raw and real, and I care about you, and whatever it might be. But there's a lot of power behind being real and not being too scripted. So for a lot of you guys, I think a lot of the people I talk to and they've sent messages so far are nervous about that. They're trying to be so perfect and hiring cameras and perfect audio and all these things. And the reality is that's not what people want, need, or expect today. They want you. They want your information. They want your content. I'm not sure if I've shared this. I'm not sure if I've shared this story with you guys yet or not, but it's kind of it's a true story. There's this guy that I follow. His name's Brooks Kubik. He runs a site called dinosaurtraining.com. It's all this like big weightlifting type stuff, right? I'm really into it. And when I was in high school, I bought one of his books called Dinosaur Strength Training, and it's amazing. One of the best books I've ever read on lifting weights, and just it was awesome. So I read it and became a huge fan of this guy. And he had all these DVDs he was selling back then, or excuse me, they were videos, VHSs back then, and they were like $50 a piece, and there was 5 or 6 of them. And I was like, oh, it's like $300. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to afford that. And anyway, fast forward like 5 or 6 years later, I had my business, I had a little extra money. And so, of course, first thing I wanted Brooks's now DVDs. And same thing, they were like $50 a piece. And so I went and bought them all. And I was telling my friends about them. I thought, like, I was just so excited to get them. And then 2 of my friends were actually at my house when they showed up. And so we put the DVDs in because they wanted to see it. They're like, man, you've been talking about this guy forever. Let's check it out. So I put the first DVD in, I push play, and we start watching it. And like the screen's completely black. You can't see anything. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, you know, is the DVD broken? And all of a sudden you hear this female voice saying, hon, I can't see you. And then you hear him say, well, you got to take the lens cap off, dear. And all of a sudden you see like his hand take the lens cap off the camera, and then he backs up, sits down on the bench, and starts doing like a bench press or something. And then he records him, you know, showing how to do these weightlifting things. And I remember my friends started laughing at me so hard. They said, man, you totally got scammed. This guy sent you, you know, these DVDs he filmed with his own camera in his backyard, and they were laughing at me, and we turned it off because I was kind of embarrassed. Anyway, my friends that night, they left, obviously, and after they left, I went and put the DVDs back in, and I watched them, and the DVDs were amazing. Like, the information that I got from them like changed my perspective, my understanding of how all these things work. And I remember for me as a consumer, I didn't care what it looked like. I just wanted to know what Brooks knew. Like, he's this guy who I respected, who had a different angle, who was prolific and exciting, and I wanted to know exactly what he knew. And it was worth every penny of the investment for me. Okay, and that's how it works with your audience, you guys. Like, they're trying to connect with you. They're not trying to connect with Hollywood. If they were, they would go and they would buy, you know, Dummy's Guide to whatever. Like, they're going to get a professionally polished product. But they bonded to you, okay? They're bonding to you and your personality and your character. And that's what's key is the information that comes from you. The more raw and authentic it is, the better it's going to be, okay? And so I hope that helps. Okay. All right. So next thing is then you got to find a really good hook. And this is I think a lot of you guys are stuck on, like, okay, I know my system is this, but like, you know, what should I be talking about? What's the thing? And I think you really got to focus on, like, what is your hook? Your hook's got to be different or better or unique or something, just because you're obviously competing against a lot of different people. So we got to figure out a way to make your message different than everybody else's. And so what I want to show you kind of what we did, because we're working on our wealth transfer secrets today. And my partner Todd is the kind of the guru in that space, and we're trying to figure out, like, what's our angle going to be? What's different from us than everybody else? And so I want to recommend you guys do the first thing you got to do is you got to go out there and find out who your competition is. Okay, so wealth transfer secrets. I know who some of my competition are, so I'm going to kind of do this process on my product. I did it earlier today with Todd, but I want to do it with you guys just so you can kind of see organically how I do this, so you can do it as well. Okay, now I know some of my competitors, but if I didn't, I would just go and type in my my keywords, type in wealth transfer, and I'd see who's around here. I would type in investing. You know, I try to figure out, like, I just type a couple things in and try to find other people who are selling something similar to me. Okay, I look on the right hand over here, invest tools. You know, all these people, like, what are they selling? Newsletter reviews, there's a bunch of things, right? Now, I know from doing my research, I know that one of the biggest competitors in my space is a group called the Elevation Group. Elevation, if I can spell it right. And that's not it. Let's see. I think they own the .net or the something like that. Let's see if we can find them. Oh, it's theelevationgroup.com. Anyway, I say competitor, but also my goal is with all the leads we generate from our buyer magnet is to sell their product. We sold their product in the past, made a ton of money. So first thing is I'm going to come to their site. I'm going to look at what they're talking about. Like what are the different hooks that they're using, right? Because they're making, I think they did $20 million the first year they launched. So they're obviously saying something right. Like let's figure out what they're saying. So here's the headlines: teaching the world how to invest like the rich. Whether you're rich or old, or young or old, rich or poor, now you can learn the wealth building strategies used by the rich to achieve financial freedom in every market. Okay, so kind of playing off of the us versus them, like the rich person. Like you want to know what the rich person's doing. Very similar to like Rich Dad Poor Dad. They're playing kind of off of his angle, which he, Rich Dad Poor Dad would be another person I would go and research. Like what are the angles he's using on his? Because it's the exact same market that I'm going after. Okay. Boom, here's another bullet point. Don't be the next person to fall for Wall Street's promise. Okay, that's kind of interesting. That's something that I think is an insecurity a lot of people have. Like, I don't want to fall for what Wall Street's selling me. Okay, let's figure out what that is. Okay, the solution is simple. If you want to become rich, you must invest like the rich. Okay, that's kind of a good hook too. Here's how it works. We'll teach you how to use your active income for generating passive income. We'll connect you with people who help us invest. Okay, so that's what their whole core concept is. They're going to teach you how to use active income for generating passive income. We'll connect you with people who help us invest. Okay, everyone should know how to buy assets, start a $1 million business, start your own family bank, get paid to buy stocks, protect your family, offshore trust, retire tax-free. Okay, wish you had more money to invest. Okay, so I just kind of go through the site. I'm trying to see like what are their hot topics, what are their headlines, what are the different hooks that they're using. Okay, I got a bunch about here. I got boom, you want to become rich. So if you guys saw some of those ones that came through here, I think some of the best ones were teaching you how to invest like rich people. That's a big hook. Also, like the fear, like don't be the person who's losing their money on Wall Street. Don't be that guy. I think those are both big. Connect them with people like them. Okay, now here they got a webinar. I'm gonna click on the webinar, see what their hook is over here. If you want to become rich, then you must invest like the rich. Okay, so again, we're talking about finding your hook. This is a hook, you guys. This is how Mike Dillard, one of my friends, how he made $20 million first year with this hook. Want to become rich, then you must invest like the rich. Here's how I use the secret investing strategy to ultra rich to create $100,000 per month tax-free retirement. Okay, boom, there's his hook. How to, right there, boom, how I use the secret investing strategy to ultra rich to create $1 million per month tax-free retirement. Okay, so if I was in this space, that could be if I knew what that was, that could be an idea for my free CD. Okay, now I don't understand this whole investing thing that well, so I don't think that's gonna be our hook, but that could be a hook, right? So I'm gonna go look for some other ones. Like now I know that Stansberry Research is a huge company. I think they do over $100 million a year in this industry. So let's look at their blog posts. Like what are the things that they're talking about. Okay, so after 90% gain, we're getting back in. Boom. Why China is buying tons of gold. Why cash is not always king. The cheapest high quality stocks in the stock market. What's your exit strategy? Boom. Okay, so you see, I'm just looking at their headlines to get ideas. Live at how to triple your money with flash bids. I don't even know what that is. I bet someone out there knows. Flash bids. Okay, so there's something that's one of their hooks. Let's see. I wonder if they still have. They used to have this video that was amazing. In fact, if you watched the elections, you probably saw them promoting it. It's called "The End of America." Let's see. End of America. Yeah, this is the video right here. The End of America. Stansberry's the company that did it. STNSB. I'm hoping that you guys, I hope you picked a niche you kind of know some stuff about, because that'll make it easier for you to kind of find like who are your competitors, what are the sites you read, like what are they talking about. Okay, I know this because we've been following this for a long time. Okay, the end of Barack Obama. Okay, this is their video. I think they did $80 or $90 million with just this video alone. But check it out. So the end of Barack Obama. A wealthy Maryland journalist, neither Democrat or Republican, exposed a scandal brewing within the current administration. Oh no! He said could ruin Obama's entire presidency and would also result in the most dramatic changes to ordinary life in more than 50 years. Okay? So you guys see what I'm doing? I'm just going through competitors, trying to find what their hooks are, what their angles, because I got to figure out what my hook is. Okay? And so looking at a bunch of your competitors and seeing what not even seeing what their hook is, but what their blog posts say, what they're talking about. Okay, my next step in elevation group would be going to their blog and say, like, what's their blog post? Because one of these blog posts, I can build my entire business off of. You know what I mean? 3 ways to lock in your stock market profits. Boom. How to think and achieve almost anything you something. Is Obama's Myra, M-Y-R-A, right for you? 5 reasons the party may end for investors. Did your accountants give you the worst tax advice? Ooh, so if I was an accountant, that'd be my thing. Like, did your accountants give you bad tax advice? Click here. How to predict your wealth future. Okay, see, every one of these little headlines for blog posts, you guys, could be a new hook. And I'm guarantee if I spend enough time going through it, one of them would be the one that jumped out. It's like, boom, that's what our entire message is. Let's focus on that. Okay, so if you guys go out into your space and start finding blogs and competitors and see what their hooks are and their angles, and if you do that, I promise you, you're gonna find one that's gonna resonate with what your message is, and you kind of tweak it. And obviously, you're not copying it, but tweak it and make it your own. And as soon as you do that, then boom, you can go out and use that as your hook for your free product. Okay. All right. Let me come back here. All right, so find a good hook, find competitors, and you need to tell your story. So I'm going to dive a little deeper into finding your good hook. So when you're finding a hook, the first thing I always look for is, and this is where I guarantee a lot of you guys are going to get this wrong, is you have to create a hard offer, not a soft offer. Okay, so I'm probably saying, what's this hard offer or soft offer? So like a soft offer is like, hey, you're going to eat this food and you'll feel better. Okay, it's kind of soft, like, oh, I'll feel better. Like, what does that mean? Okay, a hard offer is eat this food and you'll lose 13 pounds. Okay, even harder offers, eat this food and you lose 13 pounds in the next 7 days. Okay, specifics or what make things, not so much specifics, but tying it to either time or money or both or a specific number, like that's how you make something more of a hard offer. Okay, if you can tie it to something like that, it becomes so much more powerful. That's why, in the personal development space is really hard. Every time I've tried to sell something in that niche, it's hard because most of the offers are soft, like how to feel happier, how to I don't even know, like all the hooks, and it's hard. Like the people that are in there, they've got audiences that have come to them, but it's different. You don't suck somebody in as fast with the soft offer. As soon as you bring it out, a hard offer. One of my friends is in, I wonder if I could find his site real quick for you. He's in the stock trading industry. Preston James is his name. He's got this, the one stock trick. He's got a direct mail piece, talks about this one stock trick. It's right like 97% of the time. I wonder if I can find the headline from this thing. That'd be cool if I could. Yeah, this is his headline. This magic little-known piece of news makes a stock go up or down in the next 3 months following its release 86% of the time. Boom. See, that's a hard offer. Okay? If I knew what that one little thing was, then 86% of the time I'm going to make money. What is that thing? And hint, it's not earnings. Oh, crap, I thought it was going to be earnings. What is that one piece? Okay? These guys have literally made over $10 million a year business off of this little headline right here. They mail out these direct mail pieces talking about this, and they're killing it. But it's a tangible thing. It's like you tie it to time, percentages, specific numbers, things like that is what really helps it to become specific. Okay, so with what it is you're selling, how can you make it a hard offer? So instead of, let's say you're doing like natural food, instead of like how to make natural food, how do you make that hard? How do you make natural food that'll help your kids stay thin? Okay, or how do you make natural food that help your kids lose a pound a week? Okay, you see how I'm doing that, guys? You got to figure out how to tweak it so it's more hard. Because if you do that, again, people are going to be excited, and your ability to sell this will become so much easier when you're tied to something that's hard like that. Okay, so that's the first thing. Making sure you have a hard offer, not a soft offer. The next thing is you have to make it a tangible thing, something that's something that they can see. Okay, losing a specific weight or specific percentage or whatever that is a tangible thing. Okay, then you can go even more tangible, like we talked about with a print newsletter, like we just did with our .com Secrets Labs. That's a physical print, like an actually tangible. They can hold it. Now, if they can't hold it, you gotta come back and like, how can I make this thing as tangible as possible? I'm making it like exciting and cool. Okay, the next one here goes to result driven. If you can tie back to results, like how I like with our body evolution one, we took a whole bunch of people through this, and most people lost between 10 and 15 pounds the first week they went on this butter diet. Okay, we're calling it the skinny bean diet, and so our big thing, and again, we're still riding the hook on this, but it's going to be tied to how a small group of a random 26 people who never met each other in the world all followed the same diet for 14 days and lost on average 26.2 pounds. Okay, whatever that is, but it's result driven, because they can see that, and it's not just someone's theory, but it's like, here's a result you can get by getting this free CD. Okay, it's very exciting. People love results. And next, to being very specific. The more vague you are, the worse it'll sell. The more specific you are to what your system does or what your secret is, whatever it is, the better. And last thing, it's got to be cool. It's got to be something you put out there and people are like, oh, I want that. Okay, it's got to pass the, oh, I want that test. Okay, and I would go and I would ask some people that are in your market or your business, whatever it is, and just ask them, say, hey, do you think this is cool? Would you want this? And most of them would be like, oh yeah, and like, no, seriously, like, I'd rather you hurt my feelings now than make me broke later. Like, this is about money. Is this sexy enough for you? Would you actually want this? And they say no, then you need to tweak it a little bit. You got to change it. Okay, it kind of comes back to the Ask campaign that a lot of you guys ran earlier. If you ran that and nobody responded, how do you make that sexier so that people will want that? Okay, because until you got that sex appeal, whatever you want to call it, you make it sexy enough that people are going to want it, it's going to be hard to give it away. Okay, but if you make it sexy, man, it'll fly off the shelves. Like literally, our .com Secrets Labs book, we tried to make it as sexy as we could. 108 proven split test winners. I think you guys have all seen this a couple times. But we gave away, in the first weekend, we gave away almost 1,000 of them. Because it's sexy, it's exciting, and it's unique, and people want to know what this thing is, right? 108 proven split test winners. Boom, that's let's see if it passes all of my tests. So, is that a hard offer? Yes, 108 proven split tests to make you more money. Boom. I probably could make it even more hard offer if I could say the average people made, $200,000 a year with it or whatever, but I don't have those numbers, so I couldn't do it. Obviously, you can't lie on these, so don't do that. But these are all simple tweaks you can make to your website to make you more money. So very specific. It's tangible because it's a physical product they're getting out. Most of you guys are doing CDs or DVDs, so that helps with the tangible product or tangible thing. It's results driven. These are all proven split tests that we've been running that have made us a ton of money. It's specific. It's not just some vague how to make money on the internet. It's split tests that you can use specifically for your thing. And is it cool? Yeah, everyone in our market thinks it's cool. Like anyone who does any kind of business wants this thing. That's why it's flying off the shelves. I literally have people on Facebook sharing it with all their friends and their friends passing, and everyone's just passing along, and we don't even have an affiliate program up yet, just because people think it's cool and they're all sharing it and passing it around. Okay, so the coolness factor is a big part of it, you guys. You got to think about that with the thing you're creating. Okay. All right. Now I want to shift into your story. I initially was going to talk more about this during the copywriting sessions, but one of the really common things that I had a lot of you guys tell me about when you were starting on your CD or your DVD was you had a secret, and you're like, okay, here's my secret, and you tell it, and then it kind of, you're like, now what? I just told them, and that's kind of the whole thing. Excuse me. And so a lot of you said, how do I bulk that up? How do I make those CDs exciting so it inspires them to want to do more? And I started thinking about it. I looked back at some of the free offers we do, and they all followed this process right here. Now, this is a story selling process. I did not develop this. This was developed by one of my friends and mentors. His name is Daegan Smith. And Daegan became a fanatic about story selling a couple of years ago. And he ended up reading 1,000 books on the topic, and then he tried and tested thing after thing after thing. And the result of all these tests and studies is he created this map for somebody to tell a story in a process to sell somebody something at the end of it. And if you come on any of my webinars where I'm selling something, you'll notice I follow this process. If you check out any of my sales letters I'm writing, you'll notice I kind of follow this process. You check out the email sequences I send you, I'm kind of following this process. Okay. If you look at most of my free offers I'm sending you, especially if it's like an audio or video, I'm kind of following this process. Okay, because sharing the idea is one thing, but a lot of times I can share the idea in 5 seconds. Okay, I told you guys last week about Eben Pagan. Eben had the double your dating offer, and his big free thing at the front was the kiss test. And the kiss test was literally 2 sentences where it said, if you want to find out if a girl is going to kiss you, you put her hair, you reach up and you put her hair behind her ear, and if she leans towards you, it means she wants you to kiss her. If she doesn't, it means she doesn't want you to. Boom, now that's the test, right? Now if I'm going to make a free CD out of that test, that's I'm gonna cover that in like 3 seconds, and put the CD in and listen for 3 seconds and it'll be done. They're like, what? Like, how is that gonna help me? Why do I want more? How, it's not that inspiring. So what I would do if I was Edmund and I was going through this process, I would take a step back and I would tell the story about how I discovered, how I learned that secret. Because if you can do that, and you help give someone the same epiphany that you had, then they will be yours forever. Okay, I remember Daegan talked about that. He said that his entire goal of this story is to share his epiphany in a way where the person listening to it has the same epiphany, and when they have that epiphany with you, you don't have to sell them anything. That person now is they think that they basically think that what the idea, whatever it is, that it was their idea because they had the epiphany. Okay, and so here's the process you take someone through. I will put this as a handout inside the members area so you can print it out as well. I literally have this printed out sitting on my desk right now. I look at it every single day because I use it, again, in all communication I have with my audience. I'm following this process in some way or the other. Okay, so I will walk you guys through this. Okay, so it starts back here. Now, again, this is all about storytelling or story selling. Now, most people, when they tell stories, they do it wrong. They just kind of jump right into the story, like, okay, so there I was, and blah blah blah, and they kind of go through this story. If you want to craft a story correctly, you got to tweak and kind of change the process of how you do it. Okay, because you got to capture someone's attention and their imagination quick and fast. Otherwise, you'll lose their attention. Right? We all have a million messages coming at us every second. If we don't grab your attention and capture it very, very quickly, we're going to lose you, right? And so when you start a story, you don't start in the middle of it. You don't even start at the beginning of it. You start at the point of high drama, okay, which is usually into the story a little ways. You notice that most movies do this, okay? If they start with like if they start at the beginning of the story, it's kind of a boring story typically. It takes a while to get into the meat and get people excited, right? So they normally start the movie at a point of high drama, boom, and then they come back here to the backstory. Okay, but it starts with a point of high drama. All right. Probably the best example I can think of this. This is an old movie. I saw it back, when I was in high school. But it's a movie called Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone. And I remember this to this day because I wasn't going to watch the movie. I was at my friend's house. They put it in, and I was about to go home. And they clicked play. And as soon as the movie starts, boom, they're like, there's this whole group of people, and they're about to cross this huge ravine. They just strung the line across, and they're climbing across it. And the first person gets through, second person gets through, and third person, like their harness starts breaking, and the person starts slipping. And Sylvester Stallone jumps on the line, runs out there, trying to save this girl. He's holding on her hand, and her thing breaks, and they clasp hands. He's holding her over this huge ravine, and you think that maybe he's going to save her, and then all of a sudden their hands start slipping, and then boom, she falls to her death. And I remember watching that, and I was like, what in the world just happened? And my hands were like, just telling the story and thinking about it now, my hands are sweating again. My hands were sweating, and then boom, it cuts to like this black screen, and you're like, what in the world? And then boom, it comes back, and it starts telling the backstory. Okay, but now they had me. Like, I wasn't leaving, and I sat down, and I had to see the entire movie to find out how everything got to this point. Okay, so think about the movies you watch, you guys. Most of them start in a point of high drama. Very few start at the beginning. Most start at the point of high drama. Same thing with your story. Okay, so however you figured out your big secret, like if I was Eben talking about my big secret, I wouldn't talk about, so there I was trying to figure out how to kiss a girl. I would start my story with, I was 17 years old. I had braces on. I was scared out of my mind. I was sitting there on the doorstep, and I leaned in for a kiss, and as soon as I did, boom, I got a slap, or she pulled away, whatever it is, whatever that point was where he felt the most pain, telling that part of the story, and then boom, moving back to, 5 years ago, it was the first time I went on a date, and I was trying to learn this thing, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, but it all starts with your high drama. So think about however you discovered whatever it is that you know, what was your point of high drama in your story? Okay, that's where you're going to start your CD or start your DVD. You're going to start telling that part of the story first. Okay, let's say you're in the weight loss space, probably at a point where you were super overweight, or you had a client that was overweight, or you had a heart attack, or whatever it is. If you're in the stock trading market, it's probably when you lost all your money, or you were broke. One of my friends, he's in the internet marketing space, and he told his story about the day when he walked in and his wife was crying, and he looked up, and she was holding this letter in his hand, and it was a bill she had gotten from Amex for like $50,000, and she realized that they were, 50, there were like 2 years worth of their salary in the hole because he'd been blowing money on internet marketing stuff, and he had lied to his wife, and now he had to redeem himself, but think about like your story, like what was that point of high drama, the most interesting part of your story, that's what you got to lead with. Okay. Now, after you led with that point of high drama and kind of explain something, now you come back to your backstory and you start filling in the details. Okay. This is where you tell your story. All of you guys have a story about how you got to where you are, right? So boom, you're telling that story. And then through the story, you have to tell, you're telling the story about how you discovered this secret, how you discovered this system, whatever it is, right? And so somewhere in this process, you had an epiphany, okay? So for me, like I've told the story a lot with how I learned about email marketing, okay? My point of high drama is when I got a phone call from my ISP telling me they were going to sue me for spamming, and they disconnected my internet, and I had to look at my wife and explain to her why someone was yelling at me on the phone and why we just moved in this brand new house and I was about to get sued by an ISP for spamming. That's my point of high drama. And then I walked back, I learned about list building, and I wanted to build a list, and I tried to tell the whole story of what I was trying to do and all this kind of stuff. And then through this story about list building, I share how I had my epiphany about building a list, why that was so important, why that was the most important thing I could focus on in the entire world. And I don't share, here's my epiphany, I share the story about how I got my epiphany. Because again, if I say, hey, I had an epiphany, I needed to build a list, you heard that, and there's not much emotional impact. But if I tell you a story and I just talk about how I learned that, so I talk about how when I was a kid, I was learning about direct mail, and I had people sending me these sales letters in the mail. I remember reading one of them, and the guy talked about how direct mail was easy. All you had to do is you bought a list of 100,000 people that had a product they were interested in the same topic you were. And you write them a sales letter and you send it out, and if just 1% of those people buy, then boom, you could be rich. If 1% of 100,000 people buy a $50 product, you just made $50,000. And then I thought that was really cool. And then when I got on the internet, I realized it was the exact same thing. If I had an email list of 100,000 people or 1 million people, what if I sent an email out and just 1% of people bought? Or just 0.1% or just 0.001%? In fact, if just 0.001% bought a $50 product at to a 100,000 person list, that would have been $5,000 for sending out one email. That was more money than I'd seen in my entire life. And that's when I had my big epiphany that I needed a list. Okay? But guess what? They had that epiphany with me before I ever said my epiphany, right? Because I'm telling them about this process and how I discovered it, and boom, now they see that. They had that same epiphany, like, wow, I wish I had a list. I'd mail it every day, not just once a week, because I'd make so much money, right? They're sharing that epiphany with me. Okay, now in the story, you move on to, so after I had that epiphany, I had this idea explosion, because if I had a list, I could create my own products and sell them, and I could sell other people's products, and I could become an affiliate, and I could do this and this, and all these ideas that come to my head, because I want them to have the same idea explosion as well. I want them to start seeing the possibilities of, if they had the secret I gave them, what else would be possible in their life? What are all the things that are possible? Okay, but in any story, after you have this big idea explosion, then you come to the spot where it's kind of your point of no return. Like, I could do all of this, but man, it's going to cost me a lot of money, or it's going to take me a lot of effort, or I'm going to have to learn some stuff, or get outside my comfort zone. I'm going to have to go talk to girls, or I'm going to have to invest in this program, or whatever your point of no return was, right? So you had the point of no return, and you decided to say yes, right? And boom, after you decided to say yes, you started building your first list. You asked your first girl out on a date. You decided to cut out carbs and start eating butter, okay, whatever it was, and boom, something happened, right? Some kind of success came to you. Someone joined your list. You made $1. You lost 5 pounds. You did your first successful trade. You had some kind of small sign of success, okay? And if you share that story with them, they're gonna be like, man, he just had success. I'm gonna have success too, because you're taking them on this journey, right? All right, so there's the first sign of success. Then you start moving over to rapid growth, okay? My little success started becoming bigger and bigger, and all these things started happening, okay? Now you transition from not only did this success happen to me, but hey, I share it with some of my friends and check out what happened to them. Boom, start sharing case studies. So Susie tried my method, and she went out there and she got a boyfriend, or she lost weight, or she made some money. And then I showed Mike, and he did the same thing, and he here's his success stories, and here's this person. And you share success stories, because if the story's only about you, then guess what happens? Everyone listens like, well, you're Superman, so of course you can do it. Okay, there's a specific reason why when we sold you guys into the Blackbox funnel, I didn't share very much about my success with Blackbox stuff. I shared Brittany's, and I shared a whole bunch of other people's, okay, Vincent's, and a bunch of other people, because I wanted you to see that this wasn't just me. Okay, Russell may have superpowers, but look at these other people, just like you, they were able to do it. So case studies are important. Now, after you share the case studies, what's cool is to come back and start sharing hidden benefits. Some people are going to say, yeah, I got a list, I can make money, boom. But what other benefits come from that? Okay? What other benefits come from losing 30 pounds? What other benefits come from learning how to invest? Okay, with the make money thing, some other benefits, like, man, now I can donate money to charity. Hey, now I can go buy a new car. Hey, now my friends don't make fun of me anymore. Okay, to lose weight, hidden benefits. Yeah, I lost some weight, but man, I was able to walk and I had more energy now. Okay, I didn't get winded walking up the stairs anymore. People didn't make fun of me anymore. People respected me more. Okay, again, investing, it can be the same kind of thing. So what are the other benefits, the other hidden benefits that come to them because they apply this epiphany this secret, this system that you're giving them, right? Okay, now you move over here to the objection transformation. Okay, we all know that our audience is going to have some objections. Okay, Russell, this is going to be way too hard. Or Russell, there's no way I'm eating butter. Russell, whatever the objections your audience is going to have, and you got to find those objections and transform them. Okay, a lot of people told me that they would never be able to do this because it's going to cost too much money. But the reality is, when I did it, this is what happened. Boom. Okay, so that's kind of what I do a lot of times is like, a lot of people consider this an objection. A lot of people were concerned because they didn't think this was going to work because of this. But the reality is, boom, and you kind of lay on what happened either to you or a case study or anybody else or just what the reality is. Okay, like for example, this weekend I was talking to that group that I was with about supplements, and all of them were like, "Oh, that's cool, but how do you deal with the FDA? And how do you how do you invest in that much product?" And all they had all these objections that were just funny. And so I went through. I just transformed their objections. Hey, that's really not an objection because of this. That's really not that big a deal because of this. And at the end, they're like, wow, we all want our own supplements too. Yeah, of course you do, because I transferred your objections into things that made you happy. Okay, and so that's the next step in this story selling funnel. Okay, now you come right here and you allude to the ultimate twist. Okay, now all that stuff is cool. While this secret I showed you is cool, there's actually more. And I'm going to talk to you about it here in a minute. I can't tell you about it yet, but there's actually more to this. Okay, this is me setting a hook for what it is I'm going to be selling or inviting them to at the end. Okay, so I'm alluding to this ultimate twist. All right. But before I talk about that, I want to talk about some of the mistakes I made. Okay, again, this makes you more human. First mistake I made is I thought I had invested a ton of money. Turns out I didn't. Second mistake I made is I tried to do this, but it turns out I didn't have to. And you talk about these mistakes you had, but you were able to get rid of it. Okay. The other part about mistakes that's powerful is you talk about, like, let's say you're in the Forex market. Like, the first time I taught this, I taught people this, but the problem is a lot of my students weren't successful because of this. So we got rid of those. We eliminated that mistake, and we found out this problem over here people are struggling with. We eliminated that mistake. We found this problem. We eliminated it until we eventually were left with the perfect ultimate solution. Okay, so you talk about the mistakes that were in your system or in the thing you were doing, how you eliminated them until you created the ultimate solution. Okay, the ultimate solution is what your system is, and then the twist kind of comes back here to what you alluded to earlier. Okay, I told you guys earlier that I stumbled upon the ultimate system. Now, what you didn't know is that, boom, for those of you doing the invisible funnel, we didn't know is I'm actually doing a training on this, and I'm going to spend 4 hours going through this. It's going to walk you through all of the pieces of the puzzle. It's going to eliminate all the mistakes for you, so you can see exactly how I was able to fill in the blank, lose weight, make money, invest my retirement income, eat more healthy food, become more natural, whatever it is. But you're eluding this ultimate twist, and the twist is kind of like what kind of ties back into your offer. Like, this is the first time and the only time that you're going to be able to discover this entire system once and for all. Then you shift over here to the pain of inaction. If you don't act now, in a year from now, what's going to be happening? You'll probably still be eating the same thing. You probably still look the same. You'll probably still be trying to build a list, and you're not going to have one. Okay, whatever it might be. So because of that, and I care about you guys, I want to invite you. I want to invite you to come and join me on this webinar. Join me on this invisible funnel. Join me for my coaching program. Join me on my whatever you're inviting them to do at the end. Okay? And there it is, you guys. That's the story selling process. Is that pretty cool? Now, some of you guys were asking, Steve asked me if I'm recording this. Yes, Steve, I'm recording it. Okay, a couple of questions I saw while I was going through this. People were saying, Russell, should I use this on my free CD? Should I use it during my Invisible Funnel webinar? Should I be using it? Where should I be using this? The answer is yes to all of those. Okay. If you guys notice, if you've been following my marketing for a while, you notice I tell stories a lot, usually the same stories, and usually in different formats. On a webinar, I might tell a story, and then I might tell it differently through an email series. I might tell different, but I'm telling similar stories that have happened to me, all going through the same process. Okay. And so if you got a free CD and you're talking about, and you're talking about a secret, your epiphany or your system, which is your epiphany, this is how I would introduce it. Okay, I spend 90% of my time going through the story to get them excited and fired up, and maybe 10% of my time explaining the secret or explaining here's the system. Okay, step 1 in the system is you got to invest money here. Step 2 in the system is this. Step 3, because your goal of the free CD is not to give them all things. Your goal of the free CD or the free DVD is to be useful but incomplete, and to get them fired up and motivated to take action and to learn more from you. Okay? And so this story selling process will get them engaged and excited, more so than you just teaching for 90 minutes, okay, or 60 minutes, whatever it might be. In fact, it's kind of interesting. When I first started doing, kind of the backstory. Let me step back to my backstory here. Actually, should I start at the point of high drama? So the point of high drama, like I was sitting in an event room and I saw this guy speaking, and he started closing sale. At the end of his, and I was there thinking I was going to learn internet marketing. At the end of his speech, he told everyone to run the back and to buy his course for $2,000. I remember looking back in the back of the room, and I saw, boom, the first person go back and just like literally run the back and buy, and then second person and third. And I started looking back there and counting how many people were back there. And I realized that from that guy's 90-minute presentation, he made like $75,000 in sales. And the second speaker got up, did the exact same thing. And I remember watching people run to the back and throw their credit cards down. But this time, this guy's package was $5,000, and he made $150,000. And after watching this for 3 entire days, I realized I needed to become a stage presenter. Okay, there's my high drama. And I come back. Now, prior to this, I'd been an internet marketing nerd. I'd just been selling stuff online. I'd never had any people skills. I was scared to death to talk to anybody until that day when I had the epiphany. I saw the power of speaking in front of an audience, how you could close, not just sell one person at a time, but you could sell 20 or 50 or 100 people at a time. And that's when I made my big epiphany that I wanted to be a stage presenter. Okay, and I'd keep going through this whole process if I was doing it. But anyway, so I'm telling that story because when I first learned stage presenting, I got hardcore into it. I bought everyone's training on the topic. I tried to learn it, and then I started going to seminars and speaking. And I remember I would go and I would watch the other speakers speak, and I was like, and I see them sell and make 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand from a 90-minute presentation. I listen. I'm like, these guys are horrible. Like, I know way more stuff than I could teach way better stuff than they do. So I'd get up there, I would teach, and sure enough, I would teach way better stuff than they ever did. So much better stuff. But guess what happened? I would close at the end and nobody bought. And I was so confused, and I kept going through this public speaking training, and finally one guy's training really spoke to me. He said, look, he's like, your job of a speaker, if you're trying to sell something, and it's different if you're trying to provide value and to teach somebody, right? Okay, now I'm just teaching you guys. I'm not selling you anything. But if I was trying to sell you something, the worst thing I could possibly do is to just teach you everything, because then there's no purpose for you to buy. Okay, it's useful but incomplete. And so he said basically the core of it, he said the core of a stage presentation is you got to tell stories about kind of this whole process. You tell a story about how you learned what you learned, you share results about other people who did it, and then you close them. And so against my belief patterns and against everything, I wanted to test this guy out. So I tweaked my presentation. I just told my story, shared results, and closed at the end. And that was the very first time I saw Table Rush people run the back and invest money and buy my stuff. Okay? This story process, you guys, will inspire people. It'll get them to want to listen to you, and it'll get them to buy from you. Okay? More so than giving them the best content in the world you have. You're going to give them stuff. You promise them you're going to give them a secret or your system. You're going to give them that through this process. But more so, you're going to inspire them because you want them to receive some value, but you want them to get into your value ladder and boom, to now take the invisible funnel, and then eventually your coaching and so on and so forth. Okay? And so, yeah, I would begin with your free CD or free DVD using this process. And then second off, inside of your visible funnel, definitely use this process as well. We probably tell the stories a little differently, share different parts or different things, but the process is the same. Okay. All right. Do you guys like that so far? I hope you guys did. Okay, so good. Eugene says the CD meant to be our story. Yeah, it's like if you come back to this, you guys. Let's see where we at. Let me come back to here. Like it's your system, it's your secret, but more so than just being your system or your secret, it's your story about how you discovered your system or your story about how you discovered your secret. Okay, like that's the reality of it. Like that part of it's probably more important, I think. Okay, but again, you're using that tool I just gave you guys to reveal your system, to reveal your secret. Okay, but I could teach you like my system. Like let's say my system is for like my system for losing weight, like our body evolution system. Like if I was to do this through this process, my system would be like, okay, step number 1 is every single morning we wake up, you need to make this hot chocolate. You take chocolate, you take this butter, this organic grass-fed butter, you take some MCT oil, you blend it all up, you drink it every morning. That's step number 1. Step number 2 in my system is you don't eat anything from 8 a.m. in the morning until 2 p.m. at night. Okay, you're complete, or from 2 p.m. in the afternoon. You're fasting during that period of time. Then from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. you can eat as much as you want. That's step number 3. Eat as much as you want, as long as it falls in this chart here, where you can just have the green foods and the things with a high glycemic index, whatever it is, and you share those things that they are able to have, or low glycemic, whatever. And then step number 3 is from 8 p.m. till whatever, you don't eat again. And that's the system that we're teaching you guys here inside of our diet. Okay, boom! I taught that whole thing in what, a minute and a half? Like, that's the reality. The only thing different we did here with Body Evolution, if you notice, the most of it is them sharing this whole story about how they came on the epiphany, that the big epiphany is that, hey, you have higher obesity by lowering your fat. That's the big epiphany we had here. Okay, then they come through, let me show you the system. Boom, this is how it works. This is how we make the food, and they kind of go through the system in not that long of a thing. And the end of it now is a call to action to come in and come to our site and join our trainings and those type of things. Okay? All right. Good. All right, let me see what else I have. We're already at an hour, and I was only planning. I thought this would be an hour total, so we might be getting close to the end. But this story process is awesome, you guys. I will probably by tomorrow we'll have the handout of this inside the members area, along with the video recording, so you can go through this while you're kind of creating your story. Okay. All right. So you guys, your homework for tonight is pretty much the same as last week. I know that, again, a lot of people didn't quite get finished, and so I wanted to make sure we get it all finished. So kind of go through it all again. If you remember, we talked about creating your system outline. Again, here's an example of our Body Evolution system outline. Here's a system for how I do what I do. Number 2, you got to go buy your domain. Number 3, get your logo designed. Number 4, get your disc mailer designed. Record your content. It could be audio, it could be video, it could be CD, it could be DVD, whatever makes the most sense for you. Then get your master disc created. And again, I gave you a bunch of resources last week in the handout and on the video. And then mail your disc and mail it to discdeliver.com. So we got to get those over there so we can start focusing on selling them here soon. Cool. So so the game plan for next week, you guys, is we're gonna start diving in deeper into taking your system. So we have your system outline, and now we've gone through and created the free CD, which is like the mini version of your system. Now we're gonna start working on your invisible funnel content, which is the bigger one, right? This is where you're teaching this content for 2 or 3 or 4 hours. You're kind of brain dumping everything you know about this topic into a much cooler format, where now we're shifting away from, like, we're selling somebody, to now we're shifting to, we're providing as much value as possible. We want them to love you so much because, man, this person over-delivered like crazy. And that's kind of the next step of the process, okay? Next week, as far as the scheduling, things are going to be a little weird for me. I'm actually flying out to a mastermind in Austin on Monday and Tuesday, and I fly back on Wednesday, so I'll look at my schedule. It'll probably be Wednesday or Thursday. We'll do next week's training. And so I will get that info to you. But what I'd recommend is on Tuesday, and definitely over this weekend as well, is dive into the invisible funnel training, because that'll give you a huge leg up. There's seriously enough videos in there to keep you busy for a long time. But I had Chris put in there a title and a description next to each one, so you can find the ones that make the most sense for you to focus on. You don't need to watch all of them, but some of them are going to be very specific to what you need. And so find those ones and watch those between now and then. That way you'll have a leg up when we cover all the invisible funnel stuff and really taking your content and turning it into your presentation. Okay. And so that's kind of the game plan, you guys. And I'm excited. I hope you guys are having fun through this process. I was excited. I was excited when I got back my disc mailer, my logo. That stuff, like this, for me, my favorite part of this entire thing is getting the logos and design stuff done. So I'm excited. We're moving forward. My goal is to be recording ours is going to be a free CD. So we're going to record the CD portion of ours probably hopefully this week. So it should be good. It should be a lot of fun. Chris asked about the discount code for disc delivered. Yes, I did find that. I think it's .com secrets. So when you go in there in the checkout, that's for coupon code. Just type in .com secrets. In fact, maybe I'll do it real quick just to make sure.
Hi.
Okay, let's see. Sign up today. So you have to pay $50. I think it's $50 to sign up. Yeah, $50. And I think the coupon code is .com secrets. Come on, cross your fingers. That works. Boom, drops down $25. So you save $25, and that buys you your initial set of 15 copies of your self mailer, which is cool because then you have something you can have and take pictures of and all that kind of stuff for the product you're doing. So coupon code is .com secrets. I wonder if I put in twice if it'll knock it to 0. Oh no, too bad. You gotta pay $25. But then you're in. You got your first set of discs ready to rock and roll. And after you do that, you guys, they'll email you your template design, all the information you need, to who you send your templates to, your master disc to, all that kind of stuff. So after you pay $25, then you're started in the system and you can go and rock and roll. Cool. All right, you guys, I appreciate you all. Again, keep checking back the members area. Keep adding more and more things, you guys. It's getting more and more exciting. I'm going to keep trying to find tools and resources for you guys to dig deeper on each of these topics we're covering. Because some of you guys are like me. Well, I'm kind of like both areas. I like going through a broad overview fast a lot of times so I can get things. Other times I like digging really, really deep on a topic. So I'm trying to give you guys both. The weekly trainings will be a very faster paced overview of the essentials you have to have, and the other ones will be digging deeper so you can say, oh yes, invisible funnel is my thing, I want to dig deep in that. Or maybe it's, invisible funnel is not as excited, but I am more about this, let me dig deeper over here. So I want to give you guys all those tools and resources you need to make you hyper successful. So that's it, you guys, for today, and I'll get you guys the link to the video and everything as soon as I can tomorrow. Thanks everybody, and we'll talk to you guys then.